Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So this week I want to talk about hope. Hope during times when things feel overwhelming or out of our control, like too much for a single person to take on. I was in my early sobriety. I was completely lost and I was desperately looking for answers. I would talk to anyone who would listen, and then I would listen as hard as I could and try to understand their perspective on issues that deeply troubled me. Issues like injustice, inequality, things that seemed too big to take on. Issues like injustice and inequality bothered me so much because I experienced a lot of them firsthand, and also I saw a lot of my friends experience these issues or circumstances firsthand because they looked a certain way, just because, like, I'll give you two examples. Me and my boyfriend were both driving to the same place. We were going to go fishing, and we're driving down the road. I'm going 5 to 10 miles over the speed limit, and he's right behind me. He's going the speed limit or maybe 1 or 2 miles below the speed limit. I don't get pulled over, he gets pulled over. He's black, I'm white, and I believe the only reason he got pulled over was because he was black. And when we got to where we were going, they gave him a ticket and let him go, a speeding ticket, even though he wasn't speeding. And then when we got to where we were going, he said he was arrested for driving while black, and that happens a lot to him, he said, and I believed him because I saw it firsthand. Another example I saw over and over again was I spent a lot of time in court, going to court dates, all for things that I did, but there was just a drastic difference between how you were treated if you had money to pay for a lawyer and a lawyer to represent you versus how you were treated if you had to have a public defender and you didn't have enough money. And I just saw that imbalance and injustice in the legal system and how you're treated a certain way if you have money versus you don't have money. I saw that constantly over and over again. During my time on the West Coast, I experienced, I don't know if you would call it secondhand racism or what the terminology would be for it, but basically because I had friends that were black, I was called an N lover. Because I had a boyfriend who was black, my car tires were slashed and a note was left on my front porch saying to stick to dating my own kind. These are just small doses, like really small doses of racism that I experienced as half white, half Hispanic individual. So I can't even begin to imagine what my boyfriend experienced in the course of his lifetime. And it just upset me so much to know that this was still going on in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, all the way now, 2020. These things are still happening, and it's upsetting because it feels like out of your control. And it also feels disheartening, like when I talk to certain people about it, they don't care. They don't really care. It's not really affecting them. It's not really bothering them. They're not really affected in any way by it. They've never seen it. They've never experienced it. And so it's almost like by not talking about it, it makes it even worse, or by not acknowledging it, it makes it even more painful. And I really do empathize with people that deal with this over and over and over. And I think it's something that should be talked about. And even if it's uncomfortable to talk about, it's better to say something than nothing at all. It's better to work on these things little by little than sit around and do nothing and just pretend like the problem doesn't exist. So in my early recovery, I was really seeking understanding. I didn't understand what was happening in the world. I had my blinders on for so long when I was using. I just wanted to understand more about like why things are the way they were. I was upset with God. I was angry with God. I felt like, why would he let people be this way? Why would he let all of this happen? And so in my Bible studies, in my NA groups, in just discussions with individuals, basically, like I said, anybody that would listen to me, I would ask them these questions I had burning inside me about these issues, and even if I disagreed with them on the subject matter, I would try my best to really, really listen to their perspective on the matter, because I figured I could learn a little something from everybody by doing this. And that is called being open-minded, which is something that I wasn't for a really long time. By having all these conversations, by listening to all these people, I was able to pick up bits and pieces of information here and there, and I was able to understand that I could disagree with someone strongly on a subject, but still be respectful enough to hear their side and really listen as they were trying to explain why they believe in something. And I started to realize that only when our judgments are removed, when someone else is talking and you don't agree with them, when you're able to remove your own judgment in your mind saying, no, you're wrong, that's not right, when you're able to quiet that voice down and be able to listen to them, only then are the communication lines able to become open. In my recovery, I am a very, very spiritual person, but I've had all sorts of friends. I've had friends that were from a wide variety of beliefs and values, and maybe our beliefs weren't the same, but it didn't stop me from being their friend. Maybe you're this religion, or you're non-denominational, or I've had several atheist friends that don't believe in God at all, but it didn't stop me from seeing them as a human. They're human, I'm human. It doesn't matter if what you believe isn't what I believe. I can still treat you with the same amount of dignity and respect as anybody else, because we're both equal. It doesn't matter. Having our differences didn't mean I'm not able to listen, to empathize, and to relate with you on a human level. I learned from one friend, I learned that I didn't need to listen for an actual voice to come out of the sky and tell me right from wrong, which, believe it or not, I thought God would talk in a voice. I thought I would actually be able to hear him. And when this friend told me, no, you don't need to listen for a voice from the sky or a special sign, you can dedicate time. They told me you can dedicate time to ask God these questions, these questions that are deeply bothering you, that are deeply troubling you, and be still. And he may speak to me in ways that I never imagined. He may send me an urging feeling to do something I feel inadequate or uncomfortable doing, like making this video. He may send me a thought that's more profound than my own. It's important I act on those urging feelings and thoughts, especially when they feel the most uncomfortable, especially when I feel the most resistance to not do them. The day I learned that, I stopped looking for outward voices coming from the sky. I stopped looking for all these outward signs, and I started dedicating my nighttime right before I went to bed to really cultivating and developing a relationship with my higher power, whom I choose to call God. I started to really work on developing a close relationship with God in this way. That alone has been one of the most impactful things I've done in my recovery. I also learned God can speak through people. I found that so comforting, because some of the people who helped me the most when I was really out there on drugs, who saved my life, who helped keep me alive, they were also some of the people that hurt me the most. And I was comforted when I learned that, because I believe God acted through them to save my life. And during the times that they hurt me, they were just being themselves, which is fallible human beings. Then I also wanted to listen more to other people. This made me want to listen more to others, because what if God was trying to speak to me through someone else? I feel like I've learned so much in my spiritual journey, yet I have so much more to learn, and I have so much more to do. I want to continue to share things as I feel called to do so, and I am not a perfect person. I have a lot of work I still need to do on myself, but I want to encourage more people who are imperfect but still wanting to make a change and to make a difference and to grow stronger. There's strength in numbers. We have to speak out about things that bother us, because if everybody starts to do something, that's when change begins to take effect. If we all start to work on something that we can do in some way to make the world better than it was before we were here, then we're all helping out. And one of the most important things that I can do is I can focus on treating everybody equally that I encounter, but more importantly, teaching my son about these issues and teaching him that everybody deserves to be treated equally, because the world has a lot of problems and the world has a lot of issues. And what we can do is we can show empathy and we can show compassion and we can show love to others, because everybody deserves that. Now I'm going to end today's video by sharing some of my favorite quotes about these issues: injustice, inequality, but most importantly, hope too. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week, stay strong, stay grateful, and stay positive.